take a pee, I just like, hey, I gotta take a pee.
You just get up and go pee. Yeah, cool. So we're live.
All right.
We're live, fully live.
I love it.
Chad Chomlack, thanks for coming to the the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So again, I don't have an agenda. We're just gonna chat. If that's cool.
That sounds great.
But you just came from Pemberton?
I did.
Yeah. How was traffic?
They're starting to paint the lines on the highway.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of annoying.
Right. But it's better when it's so you can see the lines.
It's true, especially when I have a 16-year-old kid learning how to drive. It's good.
Dude. Right.
Terrifying.
Man. Crazy. Well, anyway, Chad came from Pemberton today. I don't know your whole job title program, but I'm your photographer. And you what's it called when you do weddings? A pastor or a minister?
Like an officiant.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
Yeah.
And you're a photo editor of SBC Canada, Snowboard Canada. What else do you do? Your dad.
I'm a dad, which takes a lot.
That's a pretty big job.
Yeah,
for
right
sure.
now.
Yeah, cool. And you said your sons know how to drive.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you give him your truck or your car? Does he have a vehicle?
No. But he's actually.
Oh, is it like a learner's permit where you have to drive with somebody?
Yeah,
oh,
so
okay.
there in BC, it's like 2 years almost. They got to go. It's like,
what do you mean?
Rigorous. Like, I don't think he gets his license till he's like 18. So he's got like 2 years of training.
I had that in Ontario. I graduated licensing. So when you turn 16, you get your license, but you can't drive on your own for a year unless you go take a course. Then you have it for 8 months. Probably the same thing, only more strict now.
Very similar, yeah.
Right.
It's a little more strict.
Right.
But yeah, I think he will do some lessons this summer, and then probably by this time next year, he'll have his full.
Cool.
And then he'll be
doing
whatever he wants to do.
Do you think that? Yeah, jeez.
Which is terrifying.
Turning 16 when I was a kid, I was like, yes. Yeah. And then you're just like, see ya.
Yeah.
Man.
Forever.
You just do things in your parents' car. I remember like my mom had like this Nissan Altima. When I was 16, obviously, and I would do a thing. It was an automatic, and it was kind of a gutless car.
Yeah.
But it was like nice inside. So I do like neutral drops. You just put it in neutral, rev it, and then slam it into drive. My mom had no idea her transmission was getting worked. But I can imagine now, like if you have kids, you're like, what's my kid gonna do to my car? Your kids are responsible. They're not like, I mean, I would guess.
Yeah,
I don't know them.
They are. They're good dudes.
Yeah. Are you?
Sure. Do
you consider yourself a good driver?
I do.
Yeah.
10
and 2.
I have like 10 and 2 pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I've never had like an accident.
Oh, really?
So we'll knock on
whatever this shit is. Yeah.
Like little ones.
Right.
Little snowbank crashes and stuff, but nothing gnarly.
Dude, my cars have been mangled by other people like on a frequent basis.
Yeah.
Like probably like every 6 years someone mangles one of my cars. It's never been my fault. I don't know if people get along. I don't know if people drive. I mean, I drive a lot, but I consider myself like a 8 out of 10 driver.
Yeah. I would say 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I just get frustrated more than I should because I do things that I forget about.
Totally.
That would frustrate other drivers.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to be self-aware when you're driving.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not self-aware when I drive, especially in Whistler.
Right. Oh,
and parking.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
It's like, but you must drive a ton, like go on trips and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Airport and back. And
what's the longest trip? What's the longest road trip you've been on?
Ooh.
Driving.
Shoot, that's a good one.
Like 30 hours? Like you've gone to Yukon or something like that? Have you been like across Canada?
I've never done across Canada.
Right.
I usually end up flying somewhere and then driving.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. We did a pretty big one in Chile, like, I don't know, me and JF and Sheen, actually.
Right.
We drove a lot.
First snowboard trip.
Yeah. Yeah, like
cool.
5-6 years ago.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
So we drove all around Chile. That was long.
What those guys would have been awesome.
Yeah. Right. It was, yeah.
So you've been shooting, you've been shooting snowboarding for, like, how long? What was,
I think, like...
Because it seems like you have an old school connection with, like, all those dudes, like JF and those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, like, I knew them, like, growing up, because I grew up in that, like, kind of era of shredding, but I was more down in Mount Baker, because I lived just right on the border.
Oh,
so that was my home mountain growing up. which was a pretty awesome time.
Yeah, I bet.
To be shredding, chasing around like Craig Kelly and Jamie Lynn and all those. Yeah,
that'd be cool,
dope.
man.
Yeah.
Damn.
So we had like such a cool environment growing up and seeing the birth of a lot of what we have now.
Sure. Yeah.
And then, and so in that's where JF and all the Wildcat guys, they would come down to Baker, and I kind of loosely knew them through then.
Right.
But when we moved up here, we were all having kids and stuff, and we all connected and rode together and conspired together and partied together and whatever.
Were you shooting photos back then? No. So this is like a somewhat recent, right?
Yeah.
Like in the last like 10 years.
Yeah, I don't think I really started to kind of like take snowboard photography seriously like 5 years ago, and then and then after
really?
the deep winter, like I mean I was into it and stuff like that, and I shot film and did journalistic and traveled and did all kinds of stuff like before, but not with snowboarding, just like I was
anything.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast
next
probably.
time.
But
yeah, right.
And then when definitely like the turning point was winning that deep winter year.
Oh yeah, right.
That was like shifted, and I was like, I could do this kind of in the way that I saw it, where there's more storytelling and more like, I don't know, some soul behind it, or some deeper connection.
You didn't shoot. I'm going to talk because I checked to make sure the camera's still going. But you didn't shoot much before that deep winter you were in. Like you had a couple.
I was doing some stuff with the Yes guys, but again, it was like they were letting me come out with them while I was learning how to sled and getting yelled at by Romaine and all that kind of stuff for a good portion of the time.
Right. Well, that's a passing. That's like how you get into the crew. Like
it kind of is.
If you can't sled, you get ribbed. It's like being the rookie, I guess, in a team. You just get like, come on, get your shit together, and then dig yourself out. And
I'm traumatized still from those times. Yeah.
I can't imagine. I had a sled for a while, and I used it one season. I used like 8 times, and I couldn't. Like when I got stuck, I just don't have. I could try with all my might, and I can't get out of this.
They're it's a love-hate.
Yeah,
because they're amazing machines.
Yeah, and those dudes are like professionals.
Yeah, they could be just like professional sledders.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And they're all about giving their buddies shit for just
totally. Or how far they can go and all that kind of stuff.
And if you hang with them, though, you get respect. Now you're there. Totally, which is cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, not like you're there with them as far as part of the crew, but you maybe not be as good a sledder as them.
Yeah.
But like they let you in the door.
Totally. Yeah. I can manage.
That's cool.
Yeah. It might not be pretty, but I can get out there and back in one piece. So.
And do you think that there's like, I mean, that's an old school, like those Wildcat guys are pretty old school, and the idea of sledding opened up a whole lot of snowboarding. But do you use your sled as much as it's still a huge tool for you to get out there and shoot, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like it goes through depending on my season and what comes up and where the snow is and all that kind of stuff. The last 2 years I haven't sledded as much, but yeah.
And why is that? What does it different trips? Is it more like totally. Human powered, like ski touring or splitboarding or whatever?
Yeah, or helicopter. Yeah.
Oh,
stuff,
right.
You know, just
a different size machine. Yeah.
Different size machine.
Get the bird.
Get the bird. I like the bird.
Oh, dude, super cool.
Any chance?
Yeah, bird is super cool. Yeah, I guess there's a whole, like, I mean, there is the movement of splitboarding and human powered, but at some point, there's still the need to access zones that would be a 2-day trip.
Yeah.
That you need to get to shoot. I mean, there's still tools of that trade you have to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially with gear and everything else you need to carry and stuff.
Totally.
But with the kind of I'm curious of, even in skiing, the kind of the demise, I guess, lack of a better term, of film crews and snowboard like film companies.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen like less trips? I feel like there's still a lot of stuff happening. It's just not documented the same way. It's like brands doing it and they're in control, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely, like on the editorial side, it's pretty, we just not a lot of budgets there, I don't think, to make it happen. So there may be like double team on brand trips or catalog shoots or, things that are kind of set up with certain athletes, and then we can pull from that editorially, but a lot of it is brand.
Right.
it seems like most brands are making in their own in-house content.
Yeah.
And the ones that I think are doing really well are the ones that are investing in creating their own production, their own assets.
Keeping it alive. I
Totally.
mean, you gotta support the business or the industry you're in.
Totally.
So to keep exposing people to these tricks and these people and everything else, you have to. Otherwise, if you just try to keep money, try to sell snowboards and that's it, or skis and that's it.
Totally.
People don't know about it.
Yeah.
It's really tough, man. I mean, there was like with Transworld and those magazines going under, not under, but being shut down, whatever, by bigger companies that buy them. It's interesting to see, like, it didn't seem like there's not, in the mainstream, every media is still kind of existing. But in this industry, it seems like between ski and snowboarding and these smaller industries, it's not.
Yeah.
And it's funny when brands are like pulling their ads.
Yeah.
And then making their own content. Sometimes that content isn't good or it's too branded.
It's so,
it's tough.
Totally
when they're like, when they've overtaken, like, we have to get our own content out. Let's be content creators. And you're like, let's put our logo all around it and make it so obvious that it's an advertisement.
Totally.
It's frustrating, man.
Yeah. And it's got to be frustrating. I was thinking about this the other day it's got to be frustrating for an athlete too, because it's like that line of like kind of selling that, like being like, this is my life, this is what I'm doing, and I happen to be like backed by this brand or that brand. Those lines are like so, like blurry, because all of a sudden you have these people that are using their platforms to push brands, and they have requirements to do so, because that's how
they're getting paid or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't blame anybody for it. I think it's the way things have gone, but I get furious when I see things like, I'm gonna get roasted for this, but I feel like someone like I've said it before, but when like if I'm following you because I like what you do, and I like you as an athlete, whatever it is, and I like you as whatever I follow you for, and then you post a picture of your bike leaning against a tree and that's it, and like my steed for the day, like I get that you are sponsored by whatever brand, or you,
totally,
or you put your snowboard in it. I get that you're in this brand, but I don't like. If I see you on a snowboard or a bike, I'm like, oh, what bike's you on? I will then go look.
Yes. Yeah.
Me personally.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else is becoming lazier and lazier, but I feel like it's just a weird, I guess if your sponsor obligation says to you, you have to put a picture of our product in each photo you do, or we're going to pull this. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're trying to get paid and that's what you do for a living, you got to sometimes deal with it, right? Because where do you take a stand?
Yeah, I don't know.
Take a stand and go, I'm not fucking doing that. And all of a sudden you're like, cool, we're not going to sponsor anymore. Like, cool, now I'm going to go wash dishes. Totally. It's tough, man. I don't know how the mind of an athlete can
we don't have a lot of like, what would be the bivocational type of shredders or whatever, where they're like, I'm a doctor on the side and I snowboard too. Like there's not a lot to fall back on. So to the angles of, I'm not going to say selling out, because there's a game within, that whole thing, but those lines are pretty soul sucking.
And it's also about having a job. And also about like, if you're paid by a sponsor, then that's kind of what you have to do, I guess. And people like Beach probably just shut up and be appreciative that this guy still gets to snowboard. I can still get to watch what he does. Totally. So it's a real catch. It's catch 44 for the 44. Most. Yeah, it's more than 22 for sure. It's
definitely more than 22.
But no, I'm always curious to think about that, because I mean, I was on the inside for a while, and I'm on the outside now. I'm like, I get frustrated, but I just think it's got to be tough, man. Totally. And especially like, as a photographer in the same situation where you won't have people sponsoring you like, hey, post a picture of your camera. Yeah. I mean, you can't, because you have your camera in your hand, but like, you have a less of an obligation, I think, to the brands. It's more like you as a personal, you're selling your ability. Yeah. Which is what snowboarders do and what skiers do, but they have an image. This just made me think, do you think that the image of a photographer is as strong as the image a photographer creates? Like, do you think that you need to have that, like I mean, this is an obvious example, like Chris Picard, for example, the guy's like always positive, always whatever. Yeah. And his image is really like kind of squeaky clean. Totally. Do you think that has, obviously the more he gets prolific and the bigger he gets and everything else, obviously that personality has to matter, but do you think needs to be as strong as like if your images are fucking banger? And I'm curious if it's the same level, because snowboarders who are skiers who are dicks, let's say, I don't know many of them really, to be honest. Yeah. But I'm curious what their image is like. Like, it seems like that has more of effect on their career than say like a photographer or something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, like you mean like how a photographer creates his brand or image,
holds themselves and keeps themselves like going, and how they come across.
Yeah,
rather than how their images come across.
Yeah,
where the weight is on that. I don't know.
Totally.
All right. Well, we'll end it here. We'll end it here.
Yeah, like I'm definitely like that's even like within my own job or whatever, how I present myself to the world. It's like, it's weird to think about that this new way of, marketing and like how you get jobs and what people look at and how we judge each other and the culture that it's in through social media and all that kind of stuff. It's really, I think it's really hard to keep the authentic train going.
Dude, it's tough.
Because there's
people don't want to see you. People don't want to see you being real sometimes.
Oh, because if you bring the real, I mean, I know it's been talked about like crazy, but it's like, we do want humanity, it seems like, wants the like, please help me escape into your world. Yeah. So I can, I don't know, feel good about myself or like compare myself or judge other people or like whatever it is. So if you're giving a good version at the time, but then let's say Chris comes out and just like, I've been like, does he have permission to be like, I want to leave my wife, and
that's
my life
a normal thing in our society. That's probably more normal than not,
totally. Yeah. Or I'm struggling with this, or I'm like, I don't like, there's no room for them to just live in a part of what really is real. And what's really real is that we're all fucked up and we're all awesome at the same time, all happening at the same time.
I think you're right. I think the thing is, you can't all of a sudden be that way. Yeah. I think if you come out to start off that way, you're like, hey, you know what? I'm a loose cannon. Yeah. But look at my picture. Look at the way I operate. Like, oh, cool. And people have to accept it. But if you come out across as like, button up collar, everything, and all of a sudden you're like, fuck this, like whatever it is, I think that's where people are like, what? You're different. I can't accept that now.
Totally. I've related to you this way.
Yeah.
Just don't.
I think that's crazy. I don't know. I'm just curious about that because I'm on social media a lot. Like my arms hurt because I use my phone too much. So like I'm always just curious, like what your take is on it.
No,
because you seem like a regular dude. Oh, thanks. Like no offense. See, like that sounds like I'm like no offense. You seem like a regular guy.
I am regular. Yeah. I don't.
Right.
I think I'm pretty afraid of being pegged.
Right.
I'm really apprehensive of like really putting it out there, like really what's happening.
Like, so I feel like people who like, I think you're like me, like where you'll ride the fence because if you jump off on one side, you're going to get shit on or something like that. I've done it a couple times in here where I've been like, but no one watches this thing really, so it's good. But I think people are afraid of that. Like, and I've been I watch some podcasts now, and I think there's people who they talk about being real and just like not apologizing for the way you feel or what you're about. As long as you're not offending somebody or being an asshole. But it's tough because everyone puts on a persona. Now, by the way, these aren't great for your back.
No, I'm just like, I'm stretching.
Oh, okay,
it out.
Cool, sweet.
Trying to keep the posture.
Right. Yeah, keep mine going. Hell's posture.
I do too.
Yeah. That's one thing too, body language. Dude, if you sit like this, like sitting with people with good posture stand out in their society these days. And I feel like they come across as like, you're going to be like a piece of ice.
Yeah.
Be hard to talk to you. And if you slouchy, this guy, he's gonna be pushing. I'm gonna tell him whatever I want. He's gonna say, whatever, fine.
Yeah, sounds good.
You gotta find that mid posture.
The mid posture.
A little bit of a roll, but a straight back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you speaking of that, do you got old guy aches and pains? I don't know how old you are, but do you have like Yeah. Right.
Have
you been mangled before? You've been really hurt before?
Lots of back shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fuck the back, man.
Yeah. It's just the crunching, I think. Yeah. I think that, and then a little bit of lots of crackling in when I bend my knees and all that. But was it last season? I definitely got like fed up with how I was just like, every trip I come back, my lower back would be just like aching, and then I get weird like nerve shit and coming down my legs. And I was like, oh man, I'm not ready to live this way, and so I had to change some things.
Yeah, because I know just kind of through talking to you, but you've changed a bit of the way you operate as far as like no booths, sleeping, going to bed like 4 p.m. with the seniors.
4 p.m. with the seniors.
Yeah.
When I'm finished golf with the seniors.
Yeah, totally right. I'm gonna have a gin and tonic, but I'm gonna go right to bed after.
Yeah. No, I mean, alcohol is a funny thing for me.
Right.
And then being in our culture where we're so saturated, it kind of comes in and out. I just couldn't imagine like what it would be without like
having drinks.
I think from the time I would say probably like 13.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know, that's just, you know, beers and hanging out and partying and all that kind of stuff. And I like it, definitely love to celebrate and have a good time and stuff like that. But it's like, definitely for me, I was like, oh, I'm just sluggish. My head was foggy, all that. And then I had a friend talk about like, you know, he was like, I just like decided to take a year where I just like axed all of it. And I just went, he's like, well, what is a year of my life? And what would my life look like in every like kind of season? And I think when I look at my life, it's very distinct like cycles. Like it's like we're in spring right now. So we're like hobbling out of winter, kind of biking, golfing, like everyone wants to be outside, swimming, all that kind of stuff. The activity wise, we move into that sort of stage, you know, of it. And I'm just like, I don't really know what that's like without having beers and stuff.
Sure.
And so last April, I kind of been toying around with it for like probably about 3-6 months, kind of doing a month here, a few weeks, and kind of feeling how my body felt. And then last year I decided I'm just to take a year and see what it's like. And I kind of feel embarrassed that I waited that long.
Yeah, dude.
Just for me personally, it was like my head space, my body, and like, you know, like I wasn't like super overweight, but I definitely was carrying like more weight.
Yeah. Party weight.
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, to have that kind of gone and my energy levels went straight up. I lost like 25 pounds. I started introducing like some plant medicine stuff. I did some retreats and like just not really, I would never say like I'm into yoga, but I'm into.
I don't care. I think it's great.
I think it's awesome, but I'm not like there every day and all that kind of stuff, but I'm doing something every day that's like that type of slowness and like mindfulness and stuff. And I used to kind of think that stuff was really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
And it's been very, very beneficial.
That's cool to hear. I think the thing is that people push on everybody, and I think you come to the thought that you're supposed to take it all and do it all in a really intensive way.
Totally.
You don't have to, man. It's like, I think this town allows you to not see you might have a problem with alcohol or whatever else. Totally. So, and like maybe moving to Pemberton maybe allowed this to shine a bit.
Totally.
But sometimes you can go into deeper way in Pemberton because you go to the Pony. There's not much going on there.
No, great place.
But, right,
the Pony.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think it's like, just not feeling you have to take in this whole like commit to it so fully, like commit to being just better to yourself.
Totally.
Like, and I think it's easy to be clouded in this town for sure. And the brewery's a 2-minute walk away from here.
I know.
I don't even like the beer that much. I'm not a big beer, but I just go.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
I think that's a big one. Like I think for me, if I was to nutshell, even just taking this year, I was like, really actually started going, I actually care about how I'm doing, you know, not the cycles of everything, and owning that story, owning mine, because it's different than someone else's, uniquely related to the cycles of whatever, partying and drinking and traveling and just the lifestyle that we live, you know, is pretty like full on.
Dude.
And it's hard to navigate through. And I just was tired.
I don't think it can be healthy to go like rage till 4, wake up and go for a 3-hour bike ride and go, I just suffered that. That was chaos. You're like, well, of course it was. And that can't be that good for you.
No. But we hang badges of honor
on that shit. Yeah. Like, man, I came right out of the bar onto my bike and I just, biked to Chilliwack and back. You're like, what? Like, I think that kind of stuff is
totally.
it's commendable, funny, but still like, well, I've been there and I'm like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, no.
Like, I think that's, it's harder to pull away from that stuff and stay in the circle of friends or stay in the society that we're in and pull away from it. It's obviously getting more and more common.
Yeah.
But I think pulling away from it is, people think, well, it'll be the death of me. If I pull away from this, I won't have friends anymore.
Totally.
And because when you go and your friends are going to have a beer, let's have a beer. That kind of thing is like, that'll probably never go away.
Yeah.
You know, unless you hang out with people who are, you need to have a good balance of that kind of influence, right? Because then you can test where your thresholds lie. If someone's pressuring you and they're your best buddy, you're like, I'm not going to go on a beer. And you can block it off and you can still be friends. That's good, man.
And I'm fortunate. My crew is like,
I don't really care.
They don't give a shit.
People actually don't care that much.
It's like,
what's that thing? It's like
thing, and they're actually more like, you're living your best life, Chad.
Yeah. I wish I could do that. Well, you can. You know, I think it's interesting when people talk about. I'm good at this too. When you go to the gym, you think everybody's looking at you. No one really gives fucking looking at you. They don't have time. They're gonna fall over and get a weight on their face.
Yeah. They're thinking the same stuff. They're like, oh gosh.
Everyone's thinking everyone's looking at each other. No one's giving each other a shit. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. By the way, these things carry sound.
Yeah.
I remember. I think my roommate told me that, and we were talking about. I have friends who just take a year off and everything else. I'm like, well, what does a year off do? Does it allow you to go back and binge and do another year? Totally. I think of things, if you put I'm going to do 1 year.
Totally.
I sometimes when I go on a hiatus of things, I'm like, I'm going to stop for as long as I feel like stopping.
Yeah.
And there's no pressure on when I'm going to have to stop again. I don't, here comes that looming date of December 31st again. Totally. And what am I going to do on the 1st, right?
Totally.
I don't know if it's helped me with longevity, but there's been times where I've gone 2 years without, maybe smoking a doobie or something like that, or drinking a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
But because I didn't put that timeline. And I feel like things like Sober October are a step, but then it's like, I don't know. I would say 90% of people who take those hiatuses come back with a vengeance. And then, like, I don't know. I think
I can relate to that for sure. Like,
did you do these small ones before? Did you do like Sober Octobers and stuff?
I never did a Sober October, but I would do, like, if I knew I was going in the winter, I would do the fall. Okay. Where I would just be like,
right.
It just wasn't part of my life, or I would have something that or like a string of trips, let's say, through the winter, and I would be literally like feel like I'm being like spat out
right at
the other side and going, and going, oh, I need to like get my shit together now and like take a look at this, and like it's all shame and guilt and like dude, stuff like that, and just, but never like. And I wanted to see how it affected my relationships. I wanted to see how all that kind of stuff, and as well as I have 2 teenage boys growing up, in a, like, this is what they've always known, and so I'd at least give an option as a dad that's like, oh, like it doesn't have to like always be this, like way, and that the culture can be beautiful and amazing, and living in this town without just the emphasis constantly on like sending.
Yeah, garfs and whatever else. Yeah. Everyone always uses garfs. I have to be using garfs, but just hitting the bar. I think that's commendable, because I think it's tough to accept the fact that you can just be whatever you want it to be. You can just be like, everyone's trying to get a different jacket than everybody else. So if we're trying, it's hard to be so different in what we wear and how we interact with our friends. Why does it matter if we are a little bit different as a person under those jackets? So I think it's cool that as a parent you can really show your kids both sides. Or just at least say, hey, you don't have to you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, you're gonna define this. You know,
and it's not like a challenge to stay sober.
No.
It's just like a thing that if you don't want to do it, if you don't like the way it feels, don't do it. If you don't mind the way it feels, then just watch how much you do it.
Yeah.
But like, to me, when's the last time you had a beer or just an alcoholic drink, an alcohol beverage?
It was actually pretty amazing. And I kind of left it at this because I went on a trip to Wiggly's, a heli trip for 5. It was
you
like
have to have a shot
days.
of Jack or something there or something like that.
We had I was with who was it? Seth Westcott and Kinger, Rob Kingwell.
Okay.
And they're like kind of my age and stuff, and they have probably one of the best wine lists in like North America.
Yeah.
And so we rolled pretty heavy that week, like in the sense of just trying like these amazing wines. And I was like, what better way to
experience?
Yeah. And it was like, they were so good. So that was the last I think it was beginning of April last year.
Which is cool, because what I was going to get at, and I was hoping you said this, is because I feel like when you get off it, and if it was a demon to you, and it was you working out, like you're not worried, but if anybody was an alcoholic and it's a demon, I assure you have to fight it and everything else. But if you're off it as a health reason, you're not an addicted personality, you're not addicted to it. Calling it a demon and trying to fight it all the time makes it almost that much more tempting. But if you're like, you know what, I'm allowed to have this glass of wine tonight and try this stuff as an experience.
Yeah,
that's really healthy to me.
I do too.
Because I feel like we've all tasted beer. If you went to like someplace, went to Bavaria, and like, this is the best beer they ever made in the world, you try this. It's got, whatever. You're like, okay, I'll try it, because you haven't demonized it.
Mm-hmm.
Only because you were, I wouldn't say lucky. I don't like to use the word luck, but you didn't fall into a desperate, alcoholic program. So I think that can be healthy to like not do it, but just understand that when you do it, it's for a reason.
Totally.
And probably you can get fucking wasted by accident, not knowing your like levels anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, for me, with the truth telling part of it is like, definitely like we walked through a pretty hardcore period. My wife had got sick with diagnosed with cancer and all that stuff. And through that, it was like, the incredible amount of support that surrounded us. It was the gnarliest freaking time of our life, but at the same time, it was like filled with this beauty and this like almost like an awakening kind of sense. And I think that's what those times, if you let it do, like those hardcore like life or death type of stuff, it makes you go, how am I living? How am I, and so for me with alcohol anyways, I did see myself getting into these patterns of kind of numbing out or like alone, and it scared me. And there, there's effects that then trickled into. So I wasn't available or I wasn't alert to certain things. And I was like, it didn't have room in my life anymore that way.
Right.
And that's what spurred, that's the real, like, so it did come from a bit of that, like, this is now in a place where it is the demon-y kind of thing.
Could be a tipping point maybe.
Yeah. And I didn't want to, I'm not going to live my life that way. And so, and then that spurred into like, okay, how do I, ask the deeper questions of like, okay, well, how do I deal with this grief or this like fear or this like, holy shit, is my wife going to make it through without using substances? It's raw. It's like you feel the way it's heavy, right? Yeah. And then so I was left with this like kind of both and situation where
that could have gone either way.
Totally.
I mean, maybe not because not with you, but I think as a human, we don't know, right?
For sure. Yeah,
dude. I don't know. I don't know how much you talk about that, but I think like I know a little bit about the story, and I feel like those are the moments in your lives where like you're like, hey, people depend on me, and I need to depend on myself. Mm-hmm. And I owe it to these people who've struggled to keep their connection to me a lot. The word alive, sorry, is like a better term, but like to keep these connections in life going and fight to keep what the basics of what our life is. You have this like obligation to yourself to be there as long as you can be.
Yeah.
And like not even just there physically, but like in your brain and your heart, everywhere else.
Totally.
I think it's really, it's tough that in our lives there's sometimes those moments are what need to kickstart us, and sometimes they send us the wrong way.
Yeah, man.
Because everyone's got a story where it's like, this happened to me and I ended up on the street, or like this happened to me and I ended up going clean and saving, whatever, saving whatever you're saving. Yeah,
yeah, a small continent, somewhere in the world.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, I don't know. I saved baby seals from
exactly
being baseball practice. So I just think that's it's a huge. I mean, I don't know how to explain this, but I feel like the pressure and the stress of changing your life almost forcefully because you had to, and the stress of what's happening to kind of help push that change in your life around you.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I mean, that's like, it's commendable.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and I think it's what you said is that I think when you're in those heightened times where it's kind of like, and I think we come close to that in our culture quite often when we're trying to do a line or we're trying to do a bike trail that we've never done or whatever. Like we get put in these situations where everything just goes whoosh, and we either can check out one way or check that those moments of choice are like so alive and you're so aware that, I could easily see the path going, East Hastings type stuff for people that experience trauma and different things, don't have support systems and all that stuff. I can go, like everyone's got a story. Everyone has something going on in there that triggers. And when they put their head down at night, they're not, not all of us are just laying in bed going, oh, my day was so great. I can't wait to go to yoga tomorrow.
Some of us are.
So rad. Yeah, some of us are.
I think the thing is too, is if you've had a traumatic event in your past, let's say, or you've been let down before and you, in a big enough way that puts you on this like teetering edge, that can be a way that just lets you fall off the side.
Totally.
I think if you've had like, you have like a bit of a spiritual background, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, I'm not going to get too involved in it, but I feel like that must be a bit of a driver too. But sometimes I can imagine too, if you want to rebel so far against that, that could just flip you right over the side. So I think it's all just like a teetering edge that we all walk on. Yeah. And we're trying to stay strong to stay on that middle.
Yeah, totally.
Because I think when you go, there are extremes, and we can use it like politically, we can use it religiously, we can use it atheistly, whatever you want to call it. Is, but if always the extremes are always like where you learn and everything else, but I don't think you can stay in the extremes. No, you can't. No, in my mind, because it doesn't give you like you just lost. Yeah, unless being committed to something, like being extreme, like I commit to snowboarding every day, I'm doing it every day. That's one thing. Yeah, but I think those moments in our lives where we have to decide. Yeah, either up or down. Totally. I think it's cool, man. Yeah, I think it's cool. And how many years now? Has it been 2 years since you've had a beer?
A year, just over a year.
Other than the Wiggly
like
thing?
a year and 3 months, sweet. Like somewhere around there.
Cool.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
good with things issue. Now.
Yeah, right. Now you just put your phone in your hand.
Exactly. My phone's great. Golf is great.
Did you still golf a lot? You golf a bunch?
I golf a lot. Yeah. Cool. Big Sky. Yeah. Good spot.
Are you? I don't know much about. You're not Scratch, I would assume.
I am not. No.
You like a plus 10? I hit plus 10.
I'm right now. I'm like around an 8. Right, but.
How does that relieve stress? I would get furious all day.
It's so stressful.
Is that just because it puts everything else into perspective?
Yeah. I think it's I have some people that I love to golf with, and some people that I just would rather avoid the foursome with. But
right. Yeah, fair, man.
But no, it's cool. I don't take it too seriously, but I love the challenge of it's such a challenging game. Yeah. And I mean, not to get too like philosophical about it, but do not. It's like, it is such a, if I show up at that tee box and I'm coming with all of my stuff in my, like, it's a real good barometer to show like where you're at mentally. Because I know that I can hit this stupid little white ball with this club and blah blah blah, and when I'm like calm and chill and I'm like, there's no expectations or whatever, I'm fine. But the moment you come in with like phones buzzing and you're like trying to, it doesn't work. So it's a game that forces you into this specific now. And I think that we're starving to find spaces, I am anyways, find spaces where we're so present. And because that's the only reality we have. We don't have a reality in the future. We don't have a reality in the past. Yeah. We have it right now. And so to experience golf trains you to like, you just got this shot. That's no choice. You just got no choice.
I think it's fucking impossible to be present for a lot of people. It's hard for me.
Yeah, same.
Like even in the podcast, I'm like, oh man, I got an email after this come along. I'm like, oh, what time is it? But I'm really, when I enjoy a conversation, I can get into it and I won't look away for like 10 minutes. But totally. I feel like this is the kind of stuff that you're right, we are craving for, but it's hard to find. Yeah. Because everything's being glorified. Like even golf, for example, you have these polarizing people in golf, totally, and everyone shits on golf. It's so hard, I'm not doing it. But even these, like, it's when you're in it, it's so difficult, and it's easy to go, I'm done. This is brutal. Like, I don't like golf more than 9 holes because after the 9th hole, I kind of give up and stop trying. Totally. But I should just be like trying to get. That's like a personal commitment I should just put into it. Not golf specifically, but like something like that where you're like you give up at a certain point. You're like, oh, it gets harder from here on out. Yeah. It's easy to walk away.
Yeah, totally.
I think that's like where people are like, you can't be present. The minute they have to put some effort into being present. I think I'm generalizing here, but I feel like a lot of people are just like, I might do it.
Yeah,
so that's why we're all like, watch half a TV show, jump on our phone, do whatever else. If you go to the golf course, nobody walks off out of the fourth hole unless they're super furious about something like that, right?
Yeah. No, it's true.
That's why the driving range is awesome, because you don't have to worry about what happens.
That's true. Driving ranges are cool.
You just try and hit the guy in the golf cart, picking up the balls, or you try and hit the hut.
Yeah, those are fun. That's good times.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, I think I think that's the driving range is kind of a metaphor. You're just smashing balls into life and letting them go.
Totally.
You just walk away.
It's all done.
Yeah. Which is it's like sometimes I think that's kind of funny. Where like, I'm going to just say this and just see how this percolates in here and then leave.
Yeah.
Or like, I think that's pretty funny. But yeah, I think it's hard to focus, and being able to focus on something that you've chosen in your life to do, which is like whether it's eat clean or go to the gym or whatever. It's tough. Yeah. It's hard.
Totally.
Especially when you're you travel a ton. So how do you do that stuff? Like, how do you manage your, the way you expect to live when you're on road trips and stuff? Like, how do you manage when you're short on time?
And that was part of even like the thing this year is that like this was like the first winter season where I didn't like, I'm not drinking and I'm not, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so it was very, it was just interesting. I mean, I was a heck of a lot healthier, but I was in bed a little bit earlier than normal, but it was weird. It's weird. I don't really have an explanation for it, but I think when I'm traveling, now I tend to like try to find good places to eat, and which I was kind of doing before, but now it's way more like deliberate. Right. So if I do way more planning before I actually go. Right. So, and I pack stuff that I need to, and just kind of, and then just take it as it is, like if we're going to, I don't know, wherever
somewhere far away, it takes forever to get to.
Yeah, totally. We just did a trip just recently to AK, and it was it was so amazing, and we hit it really, really well. But and we're all in kind of the same boat, but yeah, we just did. And I think that's one of the things that I absolutely love about our culture of snowboarding or skiing and stuff like that is that, we went and we really only got there was 2 really good days in the mountains that we had for shooting, and the rest was kind of waiting around for weather and whatever.
Standard,
yeah. And we just did rad stuff. So we went on a boat and like did all that kind of stuff. And obviously there's going to be crews that didn't spend those times that you just party for 3 or 4 days, which is fun too. You know?
Yeah.
But I would be hobbling out of there, where it's been this season was kind of nice to be like leaving and like actually make my flight without not stressing, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, we didn't wake up. You're like, let's get going. What time is it? Hobbling along, everyone smells, and it's actually like, oh, I got here an hour early. This is nice. This is try to just keep that, that pace going.
I feel like you probably take those trips with the elder statespeople of snowboarding.
Yeah.
And so they've come to a different, and I'm not saying anything good or bad, I'm just saying that's a different program.
Yeah.
I think in general, you're all at this level, because I think snowboarding does allow you to show yourself and just be who you are personally and everything else. And really, and as you grow older, you sometimes become more wiser and more worried about your body. And you're more willing to accept influence from other people.
Totally.
And I think that's how you make your plane on time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's, I mean, anybody who's starting the game now, it's probably Quebec slaying rails, going party and whatever. And it's just the way it is. It's like,
it is.
Yeah, I think it's everybody grows up, right?
Totally.
And some that don't, they're the ones who
which is fine.
Yeah. I think that's like, I don't know. It's an industry it can go either way.
It can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of snowboarding and outside of what's a hobby, man? What do you do? Like, you golf?
I golf.
I used to yell golf in the microphone. So do you bike?
I kind of got into downhilling.
Yeah.
When we were still living in West, but like after three seasons, I just, again, like at the end of the season, I just like broken off and always like a wrist broken and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 boys that started getting bigger.
Yeah.
And then it was like not just me buying a $4,000 bike, but it was like
15 grand on bikes
a year. I was like, maybe it was skateboard.
Yeah. Do you skateboard?
Yeah, not a lot.
Right.
A little more before, but yeah, I'm always rolling,
tough.
like trying to find spots to roll around sometimes. But
Yeah.
I definitely am like pretty, like when I pick something that I'm into, I'm like, I'm 100%. So right now, I definitely am like 100% like golf guy.
There's a bunch of old school snowboarders that I know, or that I don't, well, I know of, and who are golf. They just golf.
Totally.
All the time.
I actually, you had to. My gosh.
I heard like Devin Walsh like a great golfer.
He's a great golfer.
Yeah, I heard it
kind of makes me mad.
Yeah,
but him and I think our friendship. Yeah, it came through snowboarding and through JF and different things like that. But really where we connect is actually not with snowboarding, because usually when we're doing something with snowboarding, it's a work thing, or it's like he's got kids, I got kids. So it's just like, let's get this done, let's get that. Or we enjoy a day on the hill or whatever, smashing laps. But really when we get to like hang and talk is like golfing. Yeah, and he's like... He's a bit of a Miyagi when it comes to golf.
He seems like super calm. He's so like, calm. Hey man, yeah, okay.
It makes me so mad.
Right. Smash it straight.
Yeah, because he's
bad.
Yeah. No, but he's a magician. Like he'll be out there. He'll put his. I'll like pipe it right down the middle. I'm thinking, I got him on this hole. We always play these little side games going on, and he'll be in the bushes or something like that, and then knock it like 3 feet away from the pin. And I'm just like, of course you do, because you're Devin Walsh. And
is he good at everything?
He's just good at everything.
I got friends like that. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop doing everything. You're making us all look bad everywhere. Give me a chance.
Move somewhere.
Yeah. Move somewhere. I can't move. I'm not good enough to make enough money to move. I think that's, that teaches us too. Like people who are good at everything. Mm-hmm. People, I think like, you see it in like mainstream media. People like shit on somebody who's good at a lot of things, or like, this guy makes a dumb mistake in his personal life. But we see people here that are our level of, I think the baseline of Whistler's was at 100 times before is pretty high. And then the people who are good at everything, I'm just like, I want to like you, but it's really hard because it's self-reflection, obviously,
totally.
Right? Yeah,
it is. It totally is.
But I think I'm coming to terms with the fact that I don't need to be the best at stuff. If I have fun doing it, like mountain biking, for example, I'm clearly not the best at mountain biking.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Freak out every day. Like I was riding yesterday, and I rode every part of this one trail because I couldn't get this one section. Everybody else in the group rode it. I'm like, it's not going to do it. Yeah, it's got in my head. Yeah. If I hadn't thought about it, I could have done it. And I wonder about that mindset too. When people are like, just don't think about it, just do it, right? Mm-hmm. That is something people always talk about in sports.
Totally.
Just especially like risk sports. Like in football, it's not like don't think about it. It's like you got to think about it.
Yeah.
But say like in skiing or something, don't think about it, just go off that thing. Yeah. And then, and people do it and it seems to work. Sometimes it works out. But you can't, do you ever try to relay that or use that idea in life?
Yeah.
Like I do it now. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to try to see what happens. Yeah, and send this email, walk away and just see what happens. Cause that's how I think. That's how I want to do it. Cause overthinking things has got me into no trouble. Yeah. But nothing gets done. Yeah. Underthinking things gets me in trouble, but sometimes things get done. Yeah. So I don't know if you think like that way.
I'm definitely more on the thing of just like, let's just try it. Yeah. And I think what had kept me back, not for a while, but I think that struggle of like sucking, like just sucking at somebody. So for me, surfing would be a great example.
I'm horrible. Yeah.
I'm horrible.
I'm basically drowning with a piece of fiberglass.
Pretty much. Yeah. I'm horrible. Yeah. But I'll go out and I'll get out there and I won't feel my neck for like 3 days and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And there's something about the act and I hate to do it, but I'll bring it back to golf too. Sure. Is that golf's a great example for that too, is that there's something about the act of purposely putting yourself with stuff that you suck at. Yeah. And then for me, it helps me go, who cares what I look like or what this looks like, or if I'm just look like a freaking land seal when I'm surfing and because the benchmark is so high, because all of our peers or people like that are just like, basically, I just started surfing last year and I'm down in Fiji now. You look at Annie, she's just like all over the world, like triple overhead. She doesn't, that's because what I do, Yeah. If that's the benchmark, that's never going to be me.
Someone should just say, someone should take that term benchmark and say it never refers to anybody beyond the 70% mark.
Totally.
Like, the benchmark can never be this high.
Yeah, but the act of doing something that you suck at or trying something that you suck at, I think is super liberating because then you get to be more like a kid. It's like why I love snowboarding without bindings is like it's challenging and there's a flow to it and all that kind of stuff. And if you stand sideways in any shape or form, you'll get a little bit of it.
Sure.
But to get really good at it, it takes time and it takes a lot of just like, it's like you're a kid. You're like falling and, you know, flying everywhere and it's like scooting everywhere and you're like, it's just hilarious. And I think that I love that exercise of just putting yourself in positions where you have to learn something new and you're just vulnerable. An idiot and you're vulnerable. Yeah.
I think two things I pulled out of that is when you learn new things, first of all, it humbles you and the small steps make you confident. So you can have this humble confidence that keeps you.
Totally.
It's a very strong thing in society like this. But I also think things like when I was 5, I got a pair of skis. Yeah. When I was 12, I got a snowboard. I learned how to snowboard and ski when I was younger. And now that I'm older, 40, I'm good at those things.
Yeah.
But I forgot the learning curve was still like when it was when I was a kid. So when I get on a surfboard now, that learning curve is still the same. Totally. Maybe a little bit harder because I'm older or whatever else. I'm less nimble and less able to like fall and get up.
Yeah.
But you're starting from scratch no matter what age you're at. But you forget. You're like, oh, I can ski. So what's wrong here? But you learned that when you were however young, how much younger, and you had less fear. I think that's where the humbleness comes into learning to get worked, right?
Yeah.
And even, you know, sometimes going, fuck, surfing's not for me. I give up. You know, and then you're like, that's maybe not a failure, but if you're not committed to trying, you know, because you could be trying to learn how to dirt bike on another page the next day, right? Yeah. I just think that's the hard part of when you get older is like you forget. Because if you only look back on how you learned to ski or snowboard when you're a kid, like, yeah, it's easy. I just learned. I have balance.
Totally.
Dude, surfing, my arms, I might just not have them. I know. Fucking so hard, dude.
Yeah, I'm all about that like boat ride that comes and picks you up, like again, takes you back out to the break.
Really?
I'm down with that.
I don't have that. I've never been that
super good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's great, man. Yeah, I wish. Yeah,
it's like a chairlift.
It's like a heli ride. Yeah. A heli boat.
I think I'm going to be a really wicked surfer when I'm like in my 50s.
Right. Do you notice though now, like since you've been like not drinking and kind of doing more things, you are more nimble and
totally.
You feel a huge difference?
Oh, huge.
Yeah, cool.
Huge.
Did you have to get a smaller wetsuit? Did you like a big pot belly wetsuit when you were? I know you weren't a fat guy. I'm just joking.
I have a wetsuit.
I just sold mine.
Did you?
It was a piece of shit.
I need to get one.
$40.
But I don't really like the cold water. That's why I hate on Tofino so much. Like I'm so bad.
Yeah.
Bug Sansel and all those guys.
It's hard.
Even
if Tofino was warm water.
Yeah.
Even if it was warm, the way the waves are working, it just seems hard. Like even if it was like tropical waves, I'd be like, this is still fucking tough.
It is, but it is nice to be just in your boardies and like, I don't know, there's something soothing about just actually being in the ocean in really warm, comfortable weather. The
one thing I do like about in Tofino when I'm surfing or trying to surf is when it's warm and it's raining and I'm out there.
Yeah.
I like that more than like sunny, blistering days. I just kind of feel like the rain is cool when you're out there. Yeah, and I like being out there, just hanging out, sitting around.
And looking back, I love that look.
That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then not drowning, trying to swim in.
Totally.
Yeah. It's pretty huge.
So surfing's out till I'm 50, so we'll see.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah. I've been going to gym a bunch.
I feel like and I think part of it is like devoting time, right? Like even with biking, it's like I just can't I mean, I'm just amazed by some people in our culture too, just how much they can do within a day. Like
they probably can't stand to be in their own head.
Maybe
I gotta focus surfing. I'm gonna freak out in the living room because I can't stop thinking about whatever else going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the time dedication is huge for sure.
It is.
Do you think there's a time when, you said you'll start surfing or start focusing on more? Do you think you'll stop? Do you think you'll move from a mountain town and go to the ocean sometime? I think
so. Yeah. I think we'll have.
Well, yeah, right.
Both.
Double it up.
That's what we'd like to do.
Sweet.
That's the.
Keeping up with
that's the game.
That's the
game
Whistler
plan with the fam.
I think that happens to people when you move to Whistler, a town like this. You do get exposed to other ideas in life.
Oh, totally.
So I think there's probably people in Whistler who travel more than somebody from generalizing again, but that's what I do.
Yeah.
You get exposed to people who travel.
Totally.
You should come to Bali. Why? Oh, 'cause it's fucking awesome. Blah blah. You should come to New Zealand. Why? Well, 'cause
totally.
Awesome. Yeah.
Totally. I see it happening even amongst my boys as they make friends from all over the place from us traveling a lot. And traveling has always been like a huge like piece of our, since the boys were tiny, you know, like my wife and I met, you know, when we were in India, and like we went back after we got married and went, you know, like that's just been a critical part of how we do life. And it part of it is just gives you options. Like now I look at my life and I'm like, well, there is an option to live here and maybe get a place down like somewhere in South America or something like that, and split your time, or somewhere in Indonesia or something like that, where you're kind of creating this life. It may not equal millions of bucks in the bank account or anything like that, but just like but just the quality, enrich your life. With I know all that cliches, but I'm just like, it's true. It's true. You know,
I think traveling and being places allows you to think that this isn't it. Like
totally.
Like I come from a small town, and I really thought this was it, but I didn't realize what else there was. But I was like, man, I want to do something different. You know, I traveled with my family, but we would like drive to Florida. Yeah. You know, we get like fireworks in like Tennessee and blow them off and come back. Oh, that's hilarious. But then we come back. We went to Florida for the summer or whatever, for the winter. Or we go skiing on a regular basis, but it's all pretty local, but it was traveling. Yeah. And I feel like the idea that this isn't it, like wherever you are doesn't have to be your walls, it doesn't have to be a big influence, but something that you teach your kids, that we live here, we do these things, but it doesn't have to be these things or living here. It can be anywhere. And I feel like people are like, oh, I'm scared to try something new. And sure, it is, you know, depending on that level of how big that try is, it's tough. But I think exposing your kids and just whatever yourself to try is huge. It's a huge part of it.
Yeah, different cultures, different narratives, right? Like we have a crazy narrative going on in North America, you know, and then when you just from everywhere, from our social to our media to our, like what we're being fed, and you just break away from that in periods of time on a regular basis, it's all of a sudden, oh, like there's a lot of happy people down here, and they're doing a totally different thing, and they're well ahead than we are, and they're like light years of, like when it comes to sustainability or things like that, and you're just going, wow, we have so much to learn. But when we're just in here, we think we're the center of the universe. We think we're it, you know, and it's a joke. Yeah. You know,
there are societies that are like they have, you know, longevity in life, and they say it's attributed to the social life, and like they're more social societies and more social cultures have like a longer life expectancy. I think our life expectancy is like falling in North America. Yeah, I think we're all trying to isolate it, and we're all eating fucking fat food. Yep. But what was I gonna say? Damn, I had something awesome.
But even like in the pace, like, you know, like I've seen, you know, you too, you know, you would probably testify this too, the amount of cycles of burnout in this town of people just trying to keep up with that pace, like of just accomplishing or the just whatever it is, like, like I got to get that other run, or I got to get, you know, be the first one down this run or whatever. And they're standing in peak line. It's just, you can feel it, you know, it's just like, holy crap. Like it's just not sustainable, you know? And so if you're not balanced at some level, you're not going to last long.
No,
you know,
and you're right. I think people have this idea that like, I mean, I get pumped when I'm in peak chair, but I'm like, oh, and I, you know, I get kind of shitty, but like I do it because I think it's kind of funny to be a bit of an asshole. But I get frustrated, but I'm like, you know what? If I don't make first chair, whatever, I'm like, whatever, I'll just go.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. There's a pace that people keep.
Yeah.
Speaking of that pace, do you, the recent, the way your life, your family life has unfolded in the past few years, that must have given you it gives you perspective too on that life isn't, like life's kind of given to us. We're able to do with it as we please, but it's obviously not forever. Yeah. So did that free your mind to understand you can just start to experience more and be less concerned about what's like this, like, I don't know how to say this. It seems like just free your mind to be more open to other ideas, more possibilities. Yeah. Is that something that like was something apparent to you, or is it something you think that way, where it's like you're trying to teach your kids that experience all you can, rather than just like be focused on things, but don't block off other stuff because it might be important to you.
Yeah, I think that definitely one of the takeaways with that. It was really revealing too, and I think walking through stuff like that, it shows you how many things that you attach to, or that you're attached to, like you put, I mean, just as humans, I think we put so much emphasis and attached to like, I don't know, the amount of POW days. I'm just going to
say, yeah, like peak chair life. I don't get this today.
Oh my God. Like, how was your, like everyone asks that, like, how was your season?
Oh, I got $1 million today, first lap in.
You know, and I think that those attachments kind of get put in, they get a little bit looser.
Your grip, you kind of let go of it.
Yeah, you kind of let go. And I'm just using the POW things. Well, it can be like, oh, I want to, you know, because most of our culture is always operating on it's never enough, then everything's propelling against like you know, it's incredible to me sometimes when I see someone accomplish something so mind-bending.
Yeah.
Like just so like you just did that, you know, like you just landed this or did this kind of thing. And then they walk away from that and there's very little parts of them that are like satisfied.
Right.
It's like immediately on to like, okay, what can I do next? And I'm like, fuck, that's a hard existence to live in. I think walking through what we did is just lessen that, you know, it helped us lessen like that not enoughness or like whatever. It's just like, I'm enough with this, or this is, it is what it is. And let's just take what it is and not try to attach some more meaning to it or importance to it or value to it or worth to it. It's like those things can come and go real quick.
Yeah. Like go ahead and strive for something, but don't like cancel out everything else around.
Totally.
You know? I mean, I love getting to POW day too, right? But
I do too.
Yeah, it's legit.
I'll fight for it.
Yeah, and I'll tell someone I got first chair because I think it's awesome. They didn't, but at the same time, I get that I didn't have to do that, right? Yeah,
totally.
But no, I think
make sure my gram shows that I was like the king of that day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, check this out. Yeah, like all these plebs down here waiting to get on the chair. Yeah, but no, I don't know. I just think that's like perspective on life is kind of hard to keep sometimes. And it's easy to get lost in, you know, what's happening around you. It's sad. But I think, I mean, we talk about this town so much, right?
Yeah.
But, I have a question for you. So we talk about surfing and everything else, and we put different weight on different sports about how soulful they are.
Yeah.
Like, no one says dirt biking is soulful, right? Because you're like, bah, but people get lost in that thing and they feel like it's soulful. People talk about the soul shred. I'm going to go on the soul shred. You know, the fucking mountain's a canvas. I've heard that so many times. Give me a break. I get it.
Paint your line.
Yeah, paint come on. Your line. I think everyone in every ski snowboard movie has said that, and they haven't been told not to say it because everyone thinks nope, they forgot they said it last year in the movie before. But I'm curious what if you think there's a soulful, like there's a more soulful sport out there, just in sports in general. Like I assume, and our society thinks that surfing is probably a soulful sport,
right?
But like. And like things that are intense aren't soulful. Like if you're a speed suit flyer, right? But you are in full focus, right? You can't. I mean, I hope you are.
Yeah.
Or like snowboarding it's pretty. I feel like snowboarding is, it's easier, and skiing is easier than say surfing, or than speed flying, whatever. You think the difficulty of the sport makes it more impactful in your life? I don't know. I just thought of this while you were sitting chatting. Yeah,
that's cool.
I don't know. Like I feel like surfing's so soulful. Well, I think it's because the history's made it that way, and it's like it's been romanticized for so long. Yeah, it's the oldest sport.
And even the pursuit of getting to a point where you could honestly say that surfing is soulful is like a hell ride.
It's a journey.
Totally.
It's a journey
where you feel like
it's like twice around the sun. And
totally.
Then you're there.
Yeah. I don't know. Soulful.
I think it's because in surfing, you have to match ability with the what the ocean gives you.
Yeah. It's a cooperation.
Yeah. It's immediate cooperation right there. And you have to see it coming. With skiing and snowboarding, you have time to look and like, I'm going to hit that line. I'm going to paint my fucking canvas right here. I'm going to slash, take my paintbrush, blah, blah. I might use a taupe this time. But like, I think that's because you can analyze it more when it's happening.
Totally.
I think those things where you have to be so in the moment with surfing. Maybe it's just surfing. Maybe that is.
I mean, I definitely like if we're to attach like a feeling to what soulfulness is, I think it would be, for me anyways, it would be defined more of that like a sense of non-resistance.
Right. Okay.
So when you get to that place where there's not a lot of resistance, and you feel connected to.
You're in the flow state.
You're in the flow. I didn't even want to say it, but it is like that kind of thing. But I think anything I think could be soulful, but it depends on the person.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
That to me, I think it's like if you're like, I can be a soulful cook. You know, like I'm a terrible cook, but
you put your soul into it, man. It tastes good.
It's true. Like there's something that you're connected to, or I have certain, you know, buddies that I would say are like, I'm more connected at a soul level, if that makes sense, because it's like, it's a different connection. Sure. There's not a lot of resistance. It's like, you're connected. Well, and so I would think that with anything that you participate in, you know, I remember, you know, times flying down Dirt Merchant where I felt pretty soulful. Yeah. It's aggressive and it's like, hold on.
But you found that flow state.
But there was that flow state,
which I think
I don't know. But it's a soul. You feel connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know. That's how I kind of would view it. But
yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know. I think surfing's pretty fucking soulful. It's great. I don't know. Speaking of the flow state and soulful, okay, we used to have terms like extreme, terms like things, and they've been kind of blocked out now. And I think like things like, you know, the word epic now, I think is only reserved for like maybe say like, I don't know, doesn't
Veil.
really, yeah, 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 like a pass, a type of pass you can buy, but. Or maybe Faith No More, their song.
Yeah,
the only time
yeah.
I used that joke once before. But do you think there's words that no longer have meaning? Like epic, like, I don't know. There's got to be words in our like, you know, soulful. I think that's kind of being used a bunch. I think like we talk about, you used the word before, and I can't remember what the word is, but is there, this could be a zero answer question, but you think in your mind, are there words that you don't say anymore because you're like, oh, fuck, we've been saying like flow state?
I don't say rad a lot anymore.
You don't?
Not as much.
I say
sometimes
it more.
Do you?
I say radical because I use
like
the whole
radical.
word.
Yeah.
I think rad is old enough that it can come back.
That's true. Yeah,
but
it has legs for sure.
Its legs are growing again.
Yeah, but it is within the context. Like there's some times where rad is appropriate.
Right.
That was rad.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, that was totally rad.
That was rad. Yeah. Rad, totally rad.
Yeah, totally rad.
But those terms, I think, are when they get used when it's not rad, like totally badass. Fuck badass.
Fact badass.
Yeah, I don't think done. I think that's old school. People gotta stop saying that. I think there's words that are just they needed to make things that aren't as rad more rad. Yeah. So they use the word rad. Totally. I know. It hits my brain a lot because I'm always asked like, we could bring back old words, right? Like.
I like gnarly. I always like gnarly.
Yeah, gnarly's pretty good, right?
Gnarly's good.
I use deadly a lot. That's deadly.
Deadly.
Yeah. Because I'll email like coworkers. I'm like, oh, that was deadly. They're like, who's this guy?
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, dope's pretty good. I use that. I don't like to use the word stoked much anymore.
Yeah.
I kind of want to use like real words. Like I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like I was going to tell you I'm stoked this. Like, I don't want to say stoked. And I didn't want to say excited because I feel like excited sounds like. So I didn't text that to you. I'm like, I was going to say I'm stoked for this. But I was like, I don't want to say stoked, and I want to use the word excited because excited sounds like I'm 80, but I actually want to use the word excited. So I now I feel like I'm in my own brain about the words I use to describe the situation I'm in.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get judged.
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck, I shouldn't care if I'm judged or not.
I know, it's a hard one though.
It's a tough one, man.
Yeah. Just trying to tell the truth.
Yeah. If you're excited, say you're excited.
Yeah,
I guess.
Excited. Right? Yeah.
I've had this conversation before with a friend of mine. We just talked about the word stoked. We're like, it's just done.
It is kind of done. Yeah. My kids are good for like keeping the words like relevant.
Right.
So
they're in the know, right?
Yeah, they're
in the know.
I guess so.
I hate the thing in the know. God damn. You must be fucking stoked in your kids.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They're pretty rad.
Yeah. Good. Good.
I don't know them, but
they're good guys. Really good guys. That's it's fun. Like it's a weird. Like it's like hitting the teenage stuff. Definitely is like a journey. For
Are you like I did that? And don't do that again. Like, I've done that.
It's so hard not to have your story like.
Let them live, right?
Yeah, like I for sure. But then you also have all the like, oh my God, please avoid this, like kind of thing in churning inside. But yeah, that I think that for parents and for adolescent kids or whatever. It's like that letting go process and that tension of leaning in when they're trying to make difficult decisions and all that kind of stuff and navigate through a pretty wild landscape and pretty like not kind of normal landscape of what we have here in our culture.
Sure, yeah.
Like it's normal, but it's not, so it's like trying to navigate all those kind of pieces. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep the communication going.
Yeah. I'm curious about when parents give their kids advice, because based on what they've learned in the past. So I get asked for advice a lot for some reason. I don't know if I look like I'm like some kind of, I don't know, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, if I give this advice and it doesn't work, shit, and then so I'm like, and I try to give advice. I actually I feel flattered when someone asks me, but I'm always like, if I give this advice, like as a parent, you're immediately involved in what's happening. Totally. So you're like, you can't just go on, it didn't work, sorry.
Totally.
Shouldn't ask me for advice. But I would imagine I'm not a parent, but I'm still a kid, I guess. But I feel like that's
same.
I mean, it's I look like you're kind of like a kid to like.
Totally.
Parents are just people with hopes and dreams and fears and whatever else just at a different age than the person that they're trying to bring up.
Totally.
So I'm just curious when you're trying to give your kids guidance, if you're always like in the back of your head, okay, if I say this, but I got to make sure I say but don't think about this. If you do this, but make sure you think about this. Like totally. It could never end. You can always be giving advice to your kids, and like they'll never get to figure out shit on their own.
Yeah, and they have to.
Right.
Yeah, and so I think it's like what I'm finding anyways. And again, I've never done this before, so I'm like figuring out as my wife and I are just figuring out as we go. Luckily, for me, I feel like my boys have plenty of permission to be messy in their life and figure out life as they go, but just that they know that there's a safe landing spot is, I think, pretty important. Like that they're not gonna get judged, or they're not gonna be like exiled into their
right
or whatever it is. And I love them. So I think we're just trying to manage that and then let them come to their own truths and their own voice and their own confidence and resilience in their own life. And I think that they're doing that. They're good, they're cool kids and respect people, and they respect themselves, and then just with that too is just not take it too seriously. Like just have some fun and just not be too serious, be gentle with yourself,
right?
Because especially when the adolescent part, I mean, I can remember still when it was, and you're just trying to figure out who do I belong to? Are these guys cool, or am I cool here with these guys, or this is going? You're just it's just a constant juggling thing,
sure.
And no one's talking to anybody because no one is awkward and weird, and
or they don't want to give up the fact they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and then you're mixed hormone changes and all of those things flying in, and it's a pretty messy time, and I think just to have the permission to be messy and to be that's okay, and you don't have to figure it out, and you don't that this dialogue doesn't end,
right?
And just let it because that whole there's a lot of the cookie cutter and let them live into their own, into their own story on their own terms, I think is a really big deal. Obviously if it's not, we're going to interject if it's self-harming, but other than that, it's this is a pretty cool time for them to create their life, and to create what they want to do and have permission to do that. And my wife and I tend to shy away from maybe okay, you're here, but then you're gonna have to get a real job and you have to go to college and you have to do that kind of stuff, or the opposite you see in our town too is you've been snowboarding since you've been little and you're pretty good at it here in Whistler, and so we're gonna make you a pro in this and pro in that and pro. And you see that, and it's it is so gross, and then they have this they're carrying this picture almost before they even choose it, because it's been chosen for them already. And I know for our boys, we've constantly tried to come back because they're talented little kids growing up here, but we constantly go back to, hey, you're way more than snowboarding. You know, as a person, you're way more than that trick you do or that contest that you won or didn't win or whatever. And just making sure that that doesn't define who they are, but allowing other things to,
influence their lives,
you know, and not, and then that can be a tricky thing in our town. Mm-hmm. Everyone's competing against each other. Everyone's like, like whatever.
And I think that
it's weird.
Yeah, it is our town stuff. And I mean, you kind of grow up in what your town provides for you.
For sure.
So like, this is a town where skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking happens. And you feel like if you're not doing that, you're a bit of an outcast.
Totally.
You kind of town. So like, if there's like computer nerds out there, I should have said computer nerds, but there's people who are interested in computers out there who aren't part, town isn't really part of that. Like it's kind of an outside thing. How do you allow that to fit in their life? Still be here, And how do you say, just because you live here doesn't mean you have to be a snowboarder, have to be a skier. But if you like it and you want to do it, that's cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, parents will influence what their kids do.
For sure.
And you can't stop that, but you can allow them to say, snowboarding doesn't have to be here tomorrow for you. It can be if you want it to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be here tomorrow. It can be your now, and it doesn't have to be right away for you.
Yeah.
And that's probably the hardest thing to do because
I think it is.
Because in the society, other people and other influencers like, we're trying to get first. And then you see, you're like, well, if I don't do that, then I'm not going to fit in this town. When, just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can be average. You can be great at being average.
Yeah.
I'm not saying strive for average, but you don't have to. You can be something different.
Totally.
Right? And I think that's, art has come a long way in this town that way.
I'm loving that's been, we've been here just over 15 years, and I know many people have been here longer, but it's enough time. Definitely, and because we're involved somewhat in the art world, it's so refreshing to see that being celebrated like even more and more. Yeah.
It's cool, and it's letting people have these opportunities to do these different things. And just not even opportunities, just being okay with it.
Yep.
Like, we have some really great singers and songwriters and musicians coming out of this town, and it allows them to be okay with that. I guess on the art side, but just because you're in this town doesn't mean you have to do what the town tells you to do.
Totally.
I think that's really good, really healthy to be.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like otherwise, everybody in Pembroke would be riding horses and shooting guns. Yeah. And everybody in Whistler would be skiing and snowboarding and being an asshole to everybody, and everybody in Function should be drunk and whatever. So I think just because your surroundings offer you things doesn't mean you have to take them as that's life.
Yeah, I agree.
That's cool.
I agree.
I'm glad. Seems like you're on the right path with your kids. I don't know.
There's a lot of mess in between all of it.
I think as long as parents don't grow up, the kids are okay.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
If you're an adult and you have to do adult things, but if you're too stuck on being grown up, your kids are gonna have a hard time understanding you for sure. I think. Yeah. That's my non-parent.
I think you're
non-grown up
on it.
Yeah. I don't know how long you have. We've been doing this for. What time did you get here?
I don't know.
Just over 12.
Just like 12:20 or something.
Like an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
It goes by pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. Dude, the conversation's been fucking awesome. I don't have agenda on the show and talk about things. If with the way you're living your life right now, the way you're trying to be like cleaner and stuff, is there something that is there like a concrete foundation for what you're basing your health and wellness on moving forward? Like, is it the lack of alcohol? Like, if you have a drink, would you feel like you had a drink the next day, or are you doing things like supplements or something where it's like every day I have to have this, and if you don't have it, you feel like you've missed it? Like, people who just feel like they drink coffee. If I don't have a coffee, I'm screwed for the day. Yeah. Or like if I don't take this, my turmeric and BP and whatever else in the morning, I don't think I'm done, right? Yeah. I'm just curious if you have these like what you're.
I have some routines for sure.
Do you have like a daily concoction of like?
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't have to say it. I don't want your secrets. Oh, yeah, you can write down after if you want. But
my neighbor actually gave me this he's like an ambassador for this company called Hana.
Oh yeah, I asked you about that. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm always trying, and it'll probably change in a year or whatever, sure. But I'm always, both my wife and I are trying to find ways to get the goodness inside and whatever in a pace of life and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, their product is pretty rad. And I decided that part of that, this past year that I would implement on more of a regular basis some of the stuff that's supposed to be really good for you. You know, Travis Rice takes it. I mean, Jimmy Chin, like it's got to be good.
I can ride a dirt bike across the pool in flip flops.
Yeah,
Pastrana knows what he's doing.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I might as well give it a shot.
He's taking lion's mane for sure.
Totally lion's mane.
Lion's mane. Yeah.
So yeah, like with that, with the Paul Stamets stuff, like the microdosing kind of with the lion's mane, psilocybin, all that kind of stuff. I don't take it super regularly, but with the lion's mane, it's regular.
Mm-hmm, yeah, me too.
And it's I have noticed.
That's what I'm getting at because I've noticed huge.
I have
better dreams now. I've just more like shit going on.
Energy levels, like pace, like just focus, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So they're subtle, but they're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I want to start like macro dosing this like like not psilocybin clearly because that would be like more like a Friday thing, but I want to start macrodosing like because I do these. I'm for the past like 3 months I've been taking these like mushroom supplements and stuff and lion's mane and other things and like it's called like the super mushroom stuff. It's like into one pill. I'm like I see a bit of a difference. I'm not sure it's because it makes me more aware of the things I'm canceling out of my life now. Like say cannabis, whatever. I don't do it as much and I'm more aware of when I do it. I probably drink a bit more beer than I used to, but I'm trying to like figure out where the changes are happening and if what I'm canceling out is making the changes more than what I'm introducing.
Right.
And so I'm curious if you think, that's because if I've stopped drinking and I've taken these mushrooms, or, this mushroom supplement, well, it's working. We're like, well, maybe it's because I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to balance out what it is that's
a good, I am too. I'm in a kind of similar process. Right. And I think for me personally, the way that I don't know, alcohol was processed in my body. I noticed like within the first month a dramatic change.
I think most people would.
Yeah. Just like, oh wow, I'm sleeping better, or I'm like have more energy, or I lost weight, or whatever it is. Yeah. But then putting in supplements like this, routine and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I definitely it's added even more to it, and I'm trying to find that like, well, was it just because I quit this? No, I think I think these things are legit.
Well, because every experiment has a control group, right?
Yeah.
So when you do things where you're like, I'm going to introduce this into this society of rats.
Right.
I'm going to keep this society of rats clean.
Yeah.
So it has a control group. So I feel like I feel like a lot of us go through these programs, and especially in Western rehab, you get debaucherous, you do these things, you indulge in things.
Sure.
And you think that you turn that off, turn this on, that is this affecting you. But if it's just this turning it off, that's the control group. So if you turn it off, say you stop drinking for 6 months and then introduce this.
Yeah.
And see where that balances out.
Yeah.
But then you're like, well, why not just introduce it right away? Because if it does work, you start taking it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out like, I take these things and I thought I noticed something, but I wasn't sure if it was placebo. So I stopped taking it.
Yeah.
And that could be placebo too, just stopping.
Totally.
But, I'm taking like B12 every day, like vitamins now to get more energy and stuff, and try to drink less coffee. But I'm in this idea where I said before, I'm like, I'm not going to set these goals of knocking it out. I'm going to do these things to see how they work.
Yeah.
Rather than say, I'm going to do this because I have to cancel this out.
Yeah.
But I'm curious I'm just curious where you're at, because I feel like you from what I know, you stopped drinking and doing things, trying to be more healthy for your life.
Yeah.
And
those would be, I think the pursuit is really like, because I think the pursuit for me anyways, and it's come through all different ways too. And it's a big conversation, but it's like, I think it's whatever. I'm really committed to feeling good in my body and in my mind and in my heart and all that kind of stuff. And so whatever is going to help facilitate that, then I'm pursuing it.
Even the pursuit of it helps, right?
100%.
Because life's a journey. You're like, well, fuck, man. Yeah, we know. Like it's not the destination, it's the trip.
Yeah.
Sometimes the trip's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But I actually do have to cut this out. I got to call at 2:00. But
totally.
I'm just curious on that, because I've we've talked a little briefly about it. Just about like different supplements, that kind of stuff. And I asked how you thought that Hana
Living.
Yeah.
The Hana one really is, or Hana, whatever it is. It's like, it's a really good product.
Right.
And I just have like for me,
Yeah.
It's just like I wake up, have this like set smoothie that I don't share with my family because I'm selfish and I think they're going to take it away from me.
Probably.
Yeah. And it costs a lot to make it for the whole family. So I just make it
for like $40 a jar. Put the shit away. Yeah.
But
these Chips Ahoy are yours.
But it's been good. And then I definitely noticed that implementing that with travel is like, I'm actually getting like food, like goods, and I don't it doesn't make you, I don't know, just not hungry as much and all that kind of stuff. But that's been the only thing that I would say, like, really, like, that, constant. Right. Yeah. It's like every day.
That's cool. Yeah. I think it's, I'm just trying to see what's out there and try the everything's too. And I'm dabbling in this idea of like microdosing and stuff. And I'm like, but then I'm like, it's still kind of like, you're still using it as like a term, a crutch, right?
Right.
So I was like, as much as it helps. So I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. I've listened to a bunch of his podcasts. Sure. I listen to him and Paul Stamets and stuff he has on there. So I'm a little bit influenced by what he says, and you know, his maybe not the things he's saying to do, but his outlook on try things and you know, obviously be healthy to yourself and stuff. But I'm just kind of looking for as many.
Totally. As possible. For me, my journey so far, and maybe when we talk in a few years, it'd be very different. But I definitely, this last year, I have been really focused on like looking at these different avenues, these modalities of like helping with whatever consciousness or awareness, whatever you want to call it, and how like a wholeness of health or whatever through plant medicines. The use of, like, I think there's a big return in obviously across the globe. It's a huge market, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But there is something with these plant based things. I saw with my wife walking through, it was a huge part of her routine, and it was so inspiring to me. And I didn't know, I think that was a big thing, is I didn't know the power of, like, let's say mushrooms and like fungi and all that stuff and what it does to your gut health and all that crap that probably came through some sort of feed and some sort of weird thing or whatever. But and then outside of that, the use of just different things for help of your mind and the development of that kind of stuff and all that, and creativity and all, man, it's like, it's a whole like world that I haven't been in, you know? And so for me, I'm kind of like excited about it because it's like this really like neat way of maybe hacking a little bit of our normal routines of what we kind of just get stuck in. Because I think the thing that shocked me most about even just the quitting of drinking is that I thought it was just totally fine. And then all of a sudden I was like, holy fuck, I was like super unhealthy. Yeah. It was like, I was like really unhealthy and I could be this way. So that commitment to feeling good has, I don't have a lot of room for compromise right now with other things that made me feel like shit. Like, why would I do that? So I'm just like, it's not confusing for me. Like, and someone else doesn't need to do that. I'm not telling someone, oh, you need to live like this way and it's better for you. I think it's the best way to live, you know, whatever. I'm not claiming that. It's just for me, these little things and these experiments almost that I'm trying to figure out as I'm going, and based in working with plant medicine, I'm just like, there's something there, you know, there's something pretty, you know, when your intention is like curiosity and wellness and like respect and honor kind of to that whole world. It cuts through all the fluffy Coachella freaking go to Burning Man shit, you know. For sure. And it gets to like, actually this is something, and all those things are fine. But it gets to like why they've been used throughout all of history in so many deep ways. It's just that we're trying to introduce it into a culture that's like not awake.
Squeeze cheese, like, you know, all these things that taste so good. Consume. Yeah, Doritos, whatever it is.
I need more of that, you know, whatever. Rather than going, you know, like they're very powerful. All of this stuff needs to be put in its proper kind of place, and then and we can, I think, I'm seeing some of the benefits, anyways. But
that's good. Yeah, I mean, people lived on foraging for thousands of years, right?
Totally.
So why do we so?
Yeah.
It's
interesting.
That's cool. I want to chat again, man. I think it's cool. It's great. I do. I have another job to deal with. I think that was awesome.
It's great.
It's cool.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Nice save. So I don't know. Chad Chomlack, thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you can find him online. If people watch, whatever. I'm just glad this wasn't all about, winter sports. I think it was cool. Yeah. I think your outlook on life and the way you take things, and I think what you present to people is pretty positive. So it's cool. Yeah,
thank you.
It's good, man. Thanks for the chat. Let's go get a beer.
Yep.
Peace. All right. See ya.
Bye.